Hi, this is the beginning of the live. We're going to be going live, a duo live again today. I'm excited. We're just waiting for him. I just ate a bunch of salad. Hi. Hi. Okay. The pelvic coach. How are you guys? Today we're gonna join with duo live with the pelvic health coach. Hi, Janie. How are you guys? How's it going? Let's see. With the brain, I'm still in shock. I'm doing lots of videos about it. Let's see, is it accepting it? I accepted it. We'll see what happens. Hi.
Hello.
How's
it going? I'm good. It just decided to turn fall here in Washington.
Oh, I'm in Washington.
Awesome.
Did you?
I thought you were in the
know
Pacific.
You were in Washington.
We're on the southern part. I'm in Vancouver, Washington, just north of Portland.
Oh, I'm in Hoodsport, so I'm 3 hours from you.
Okay.
Yep. We got fall real fast. We had a real nice summer. We had 5 days of just really uncomfortable heat, and then after that, bam, we were good.
I just slapped. I'm in a vest.
Yeah, I'm in a sweatshirt. It's kind of cold, and then it gets a little hot, and I get a little red, and I take it off, and it's cold again. It cannot make up its mind here. I'm fine with it though, because it's so uncomfortable hot, you know.
My kids are just ready for fall. They want to decorate for Halloween already. We're there.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like the warm, but I don't necessarily like how hot it gets, because we really do have very similar weather, me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to live in Vancouver. I lived in Portland. I lived in Vancouver.
Awesome.
Yeah, I lived over where the downtown, you guys all have that nice downtown now. Yeah, I lived where it wasn't the nice section of downtown, where it was very ghetto next to it, right there on the river. Yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful now.
It is.
Super fun. Yeah.
It's really pretty. Vancouver has really picked up its game and major area.
Super.
Mm-hmm.
It has. But yes, so thanks for having me.
No, thanks for having me.
With you. I had found you. I've been on a parasite journey. Had to step into holistic health as a pelvic health therapist, physical therapist. And it's been years of just one thing after another. And then I found your account. I was like, hey, your videos do a really good job of really proving to people, yes, there are parasites. Yes, they're real. So, and I've gone, and I feel like I'm this outsider in the pelvic health world, dealing with things like endometriosis, autoimmune conditions, and no one's saying boo about detoxing or parasites.
Yeah, and then I cannonball in like a wrecking ball. I'm like, what's up? Because I'm in remission. So, and I tried everything in my life. I switched everything. And I remember the moment I took my first Paragard, I had enough. I was like, you've got to be kidding. I can't have any more surgeries. I'm going on my second year. Things were really good. There's no way that I still have endometriosis after 20-year battle, hysterectomies, 12 more surgeries. There's just no way. This is totally impossible. There's
How many?
I've had 12 surgeries and a hysterectomy, total 13 surgeries due to endometriosis. I was having them every 2 years. I can officially say I'm in remission because this is my third year without a surgery. Wow. So when, the second year was last year and things were a little spotty because I had mold poisoning. Yeah. And so that really wreaked some havoc on my body, causing very similar pains that I had when I had endometriosis. Ooh. And the third day I did my cleanse and I saw flukes, pinworms, roundworm, and eggs. The moment I saw that, the pain started to dissipate. And listen, I'm not saying that all of endometriosis is this. I'm saying that it is a contributing factor because they go in and out of our tissue, creating those adhesions, which is what endometriosis is, but also wreaking havoc on our hormonal system. And so with those combinations of the things, your body is like, what do I do with this ecosystem that's in our body, right? And so it starts to fight back with scar tissue and creating barriers to protect itself. And so we just would think, like for me, I just thought when I would bleed really heavily before I had my hysterectomy, I thought, oh, these are blood clots. But now I don't know for sure what I saw, you know. But I do know what I saw on the toilet third day of me doing a parasite cleanse and feeling different, and the bloating going away and my skin problems going away, and just overall feeling like better. You know what I mean? Like, did it cure it? I have no idea. Like I haven't been cut into for 3 years. Is any of this a cure? Who knows? Like at this point though in our life, it's really going down to that root cause issues that we're having and allowing ourselves to get in there and get deep and pull those onion layers off. I remember when I got mold poisoning, and then I'll stop because I love talking about endometriosis and parasites. I do. I love it because I feel that there really is some connection with trauma and parasites, endometriosis and parasites, and mold and adenomyosis and endometriosis. So I'm looking at all the different layers of things that I've had to peel back, getting rid of the synthetic medications, being on functional mushrooms. Those were huge. That was a game changer when I got off of that. But last year, when I found out that I had Aspergillus niger and Cladosporidium mold poisoning, I was kind of down in the dumps because I'm like, look, I've cleansed my parasites. Why am I still feeling bad? And come to find out it's because of the toxins that were in more of toxins in my environment. Yeah.
So hard. Well, in the endometriosis world, as a pelvic physical therapist, we're one of the people in the trenches.
Right, you are.
You know that you've got your endometriosis excision specialist. They're considered the gold standard. Yep. And then you've got pelvic physical therapy, occupational therapy. But here I am in the trenches seeing people just like you. Everyone's inflamed. Everyone's, you know, they've got lots of pain. They've got lots of metabolic dysregulation. I know it's hot, it's cold. And the only thing offered to them is different hormonal modulating medications, synthetic medications, and cut it out. And unfortunately, in the history of endometriosis, for those of you watching, there was a theory, and I forget the name of the doctor, that thought that endometriosis was basically when we menstruate, that we're kicking out endometrial cells just into the pelvic cavity. That has been stamped down. Everyone agrees that is not legit.
They literally described it as you can't have anything come out of your tubes and have a period. It all goes out and into your abdominal wall, and then creating, like, I had pools of blood sitting in my abdominal area. That's why I had to get a hysterectomy. It was not good. Like, they would go in and I would just have, like, you could swim in this much blood that was just harboring itself inside of my abdominal area because it wasn't escaping. So technically what was happening was that, but like, what was it that was not allowing it to leave? And it's like, the scar tissue. You just clean the scar tissue. Like, I just had a surgery and we're 6 months into this and I'm still bleeding internally. Like, something else is going on here. They're like, nope, no, nothing else is going on here. This is what's happening to you. And I'm like, I'm not dumb. Like, I have 2 healthcare degrees. Like, I'm not,
endometriosis cells or tissue has been found all the way up to the brain.
I had a spot on my brain. I had a spot on my lung. I had a spot on my kidney. I had a spot on my liver. I had a spot right here, and they didn't know what it was. And I was being tested for MS because of the spots that they found on my brain. I had spinal taps. Like,
you're that person. There's a woman in this area that found an extra pelvic not rare. And she's been trying to educate others to say, hey, it's not limited to the pelvis.
Right.
It's all over. It's the lungs. So yes, the scientific community has never come forth with another hypothesis to explain how in the world do these tissues get elsewhere? But the parasite hypothesis fits because 70% are microscopic. They can cross the blood-brain barrier. They're little Trojan horses. They can carry toxins right along with them.
Yep.
But when I will casually mention to some patients that have endo, I will ask them when their flares are, and some of them will be with the full moon. And I have to test out people because everyone has different comfort level with holistic health, the mention of parasites. And I might say, there are some case reports of treating parasites and endo symptoms getting better. And I will just leave it at that and help educate as I can. But I will say the thing I can't get away from is there's no other working hypothesis for how the heck these endometrial cells get elsewhere in the body but parasites.
Right. Well, and who's to say they're just endometrial cells, right? Yeah. That's what we're being told on what they're studying and removing and looking at. But I mean, let's be real. Like, look at what happened with the live worm. Even though that lady that had it in her brain,
the one in the brain,
it was actually from last year. They're about a year behind the cycle. So it was June of 2022 is when they actually found that, but they would not release it until August 29th of 2023. Yeah.
Wow.
So
and then the other study that got me was the pathology one where they found parasite or tapeworm in
all patients. Yeah, all patients.
100%.
100% of, so they started out with 10 out of 10 on the autopsy. And then after that, they started going in and testing differently. And now they're at like 100 out of 100. Like it's 100% that all MS patients have parasitic activity going on in their body. It's 100%. It's not even just a little bit. It's a big one. And I know like some people that watch me here on Insta don't realize, but like I came in like a wrecking ball at TikTok. I have 10.2 million people that watched one of my videos July of 2021. And that is what really propelled all of this to go, because I'm like, I am on a mission. I'm not stopping because
I love it.
It's gaslighting. It's like, I can't go back and change 20 years ago when I got my hysterectomy, but I certainly can like tell people just go do this for 30 days and see what happens. Like that's the worst thing that's going to happen. You waste $100 and you spent 30 days kind of cleaning up your body a little bit. Like,
yes. Well, let's talk about what the typical endometriosis person goes through. At least 9 years before they're diagnosed, and usually about 9 providers in general. And they've spent thousands. And then the endometrial surgeries are not usually covered by insurance.
Right.
If they use the code for excision, because there's no code for it for insurance world. So most of those surgeons that get good have to be out of network. So $100 is
right. And it's not even just about what you have to go through just to have a treatment plan. For me personally, I had to leave jobs because I needed health insurance. I needed medical insurance because I was having surgeries every 2 years for quality of life purposes. And if a company couldn't provide me with good insurance or they changed their insurance, I would have to leave that facility. And I left many jobs I liked. And then of course my resume was huge, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not a well person. I need medical insurance. They changed from an HMO to a PPO. I can't be on a PPO because before you were not allowed to have pre-existing conditions, and I was just a walking pre-existing condition. So not just not paying the amount. I mean, it was expensive. My whole savings saved for surgery so that I had a quality of life. But mainly it was because I'd have to leave jobs. And it was a bummer. Like I would step down from good positions because their insurance would change and there was nothing they could do to help me out. And so that's a pretty typical story with people that have, one, this big of a chronic illness, but two, endometriosis, because really there is such minimal allotments of what they can do for your body. And I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know why. I think it's just because that excision, that is actually what stopped like the more of the pain for me. But what were they cutting out and how long, you know, she had to really dig deep. And it's weird because
the amount of incisional scars you must have.
Oh, so many.
Do you cup your belly? You've done like the dynamic silicone cups?
I've done the fascia blasting. I fascia blast and I wash off.
I'll have to send you a little video. If you just take like a little silicone cup and you can just do like even castor oil or
I've cupped before.
You just do your belly.
Okay.
Because people with any belly incisions, things get so restricted and fascia blasters like smashing, but the cup you lift up and you can create stretch and glide it along.
Okay.
The C-section scar, all of them.
Okay.
Because you'll find, and it helps break up restrictions.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah. That's good.
And
because there
even
is some
keeps digestion better. I mean, people will be less constipated when they start cupping or maintain cupping.
Ooh, that's a good tool for our arsenal because we get that a lot. Endo or not, just we have like a lot of people. Our business is so busy. And so who knew, right? Like who knew? Who really knew? I mean, I had hoped, but.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so can you explain, because I'm going to be sharing this, I hope, just your journey in being holistic and, you know, was it stopping toxins first? Was it elimination diets? Because I feel like people with endo, a lot of them have put all their focus on the medical establishment. Yeah. And so then, you know, someone like me, I'm just the therapist, though it is within my practice act to speak about nutrition and health. You know, we have to be careful about not overwhelming people when they're on this journey, because for a lot of us, I've been on like a 7-year journey.
Yeah. And you know a lot in the back end that you're like, oh, how much can I say to the person? What should I do? How do I explain it? So I started because I realized that my body wasn't breaking down synthetic medications or synthetic driven type of supplements. So that's really where it started. I started doing turmeric and CBD and just really allowing myself to do more of a plant-based medicine. But I still had to take certain synthetic medications, and I still take some. But I started veering off of my Klonopin, which I've been taking for 22 years, mainly from trauma, from all my chronic health issues. Wow. And so I was on like the highest dose of Klonopin. So I was like, well, I got to get off of all of this stuff. Like, I can't live my life like this anymore. I was starting to have weird side effects from the Klonopin, and I was in pain. I hadn't pooped in a month, and I had worse than the endo belly ever, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I started to slowly cut stuff out in order to see, and I'm talking like I've been doing this since 2019. So this wasn't just like some overnight thing.
Yes. Well, that also is good reference for people, because we've been inundated with messaging that tells us there is a quick fix.
Yeah, no quick fix.
And you'd been changing diet or supplements for a long time before you started to parasite cleanse, it sounds like.
Yeah, about 2 years. So I decided to get functional mushrooms, which have been proven to be very supportive with adenomyosis and endometriosis. So I was like, well, lion's mane helps the brain, and I'm having major brain fog. So I just went and found which herb, mainly mushrooms, would help me with that specific symptom. And so I just slowly started to switch myself off of all of the supplements that were not really all cohesive together. And then in that process, I still was not losing the weight. And I'm like, what is happening here? Well, it's because most people that have endometriosis should be on the blood type diet, which allows you to eat and filter the food properly, because our bodies have a really difficult time filtering out things we're not supposed to eat. So my main diet consisted of, and I'm talking like I am a very strict person when it comes to food. So my diet consisted of avocados, black olives, chicken, and I am not supposed to eat any of that. And so from the research I did from the blood type diet, my body was creating a glue. because it didn't know how to process the chicken. It didn't know how to process the fats in avocado or black olives. In fact, I should be eating turkey, not chicken, not having dairy, and having goat's milk. Like, goats is where my ancestors came. I did a big, huge ancestral like dive when I was changing all of my life around. And I still was losing weight. I lost like 20 pounds when I went on it, and I felt great, but I still was having like some problems. And I think what alerted me was the pain in the right side of my hip where they dug. Like, I know because I have videos and pictures of all my surgeries, because most of the people that worked on me were my colleagues because we worked in the same field, right? I worked as a medical specialist, and I worked with them when I was a professor, and I got their facilities full of my students so that they had good people that I would go and see, right? So they had dug really deep on my right side. Like, she's like, I got it all. There's nothing left. Like, it's good. You're good to go. And then 2 years, I felt the pain of that side. And that's what I was like, I have itchy butt. It's the full moon. I'm always flared during the full moon. I was thinking it. I went on TikTok and this video popped up, and this chick goes, I can't believe I almost unalived myself over parasites. And I'm like, whoa, chick, hold on a second. 5 years ago, I thought that I had pinworms. They actually were going to go and do a biopsy of my area to see what this white weird substance was that was kind of not something normal, that they were going to like cut out and see if it was the C. And I'm like, okay, can we just wait a few days before you go like cutting in my area? That would be awesome. I come back, it's gone. I don't have itchy anymore, no movement. So like, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I have worms. And my doctor, the same one that did all my surgeries, well, the last 3, she goes, you don't have worms, Kim. And I'm like, I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. And I know, because I was looking up like how to do a colonic and coffee enemas, because that's what at the time they were like, this is what you have to do. There wasn't anything. I mean, this was like 2016. So anyway, so as soon as I started Paragard and I saw the pinworms, I saw the flukes, I saw the round, I'm like, I knew it.
Well, the trickiest thing right now is lots of holistic providers will just think poop test.
Yeah, and there's no accurate poop test.
There really is not. And so as I started going to conferences that dealt with parasites, you know, they did like muscle testing, you know, those kind of things. And then you get the allopathic world. It's like, what is that?
Well, I mean, there is kind of a rhythm that you can do, and I know it from my own personal journey now, is that we use parasites.org. My husband and I get tested periodically with our stool with them. That's all they do. They're a parasitologist. It's in my profile. His name is Evan. We love Evan. Dr. Jess uses him as well. I mean, there's a lot of different ones, but this is specifically, he does 32 different types of gut test, and then he also does bacteria test, he does blood test, and he does water test. And that's how we found out we had worms in our water here where we live. That's how this whole thing got cracked to open. Like, this whole thing exploded because I was taking all these things to remove the parasites, and I was still having parasites. So
getting them in.
Right. I reached out to this guy. I'm like, I just went on the internet and I just reached out to him, and we actually became quite good friends over it all. And so I got tested. I came back with Cryptosporidium parvium, roundworm. Jeremy, my husband, had D. fragilis, roundworm, and I had pinworms. Like, it was like a laundry list. It was a laundry list of things that I had. And, you know, I felt validated in that moment because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was right this whole time. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a good way to start the idea of my treatment plan that no one else could do for me. So I sat down and I spent all my time like creating a plan that if I found a doctor that could help me, which is what I did, that we would be able to kind of go forward with what I already did. So I went and got my EOS tested on the full moon when I was feeling very unusual and didn't feel good. So I held on to my lab slip and I went and got my blood work done on the full moon, because that's when I saw the most activity going on in my body. So I'm like, bam, that's what I'm doing. I got my stool tested by parasites.org as well as LabCorp. I use the same stool. The same stool I tested. They came back negative at LabCorp, and parasites.org showed me everything that was wrong with me.
So LabCorp might not be testing for them.
No, and what happens, because I used to teach for lab technicians, I was a professor to use LabCorp.
Okay.
In fact, LabCorp was one of my clients. And so I actually found out that they let your stool sit, which then can kill the parasites, right? You're supposed to refrigerate your stool so that there's activity when it's sent, and you're supposed to expedite it. That is not what they do. And this is just me telling my experience. What they do is it sits. It's not a priority. They don't believe in it, and it sat. My stool actually sat for 15 days. 15 days in the heat. Yeah. It wasn't expedited, and then they lost some of my stool. And instead of them telling me they lost it, I had to get a manager on the phone, and the manager said, well, it was misplaced. I'm like, that's lost, yo. That's lost.
It's not easy to do that test.
I know.
That's
and they don't tell you the right way. Let me tell you the right way to tell your patients to test their stool.
My naturopath friend, she's probably lost it with me. I'm like, I can't do
oh my God. Here's how you have to tell people to test their stool. It's a 4-day process. If you get 2 vials, so you have 2 vials, right, with the red line marked halfway up the vial. You're going to take 1 day and scoop and just put 1/4 of it in 1 vial. Then you're going to go do the next day, because you're going to do day 2, and you're going to do the next vial. But you're going to do the same amount. You're just going to scoop a little bit, and you're going to stick it in that. Then you're going to go to the 3rd day, and you're going to go back to that first vial. And then you're going to do the 4th day, and you're going to go back to that, and you're going to fill your vials. And you got a 4-day idea of their stool and what they ate and what's growing, and if there's a cycle, because cycles for parasites are 7 to 21 days. And so if you can get them right when there might be coming, which you might be on this end, day 1, and you might again on day 4, you just don't know. And then you have them refrigerate it, because that will actually keep it way more fresh, in order for then the lab to look through it. And they have 3 minutes to look through your stool. They have 3 minutes. Beyond 3 minutes, if they don't see an egg, they don't see movement, and they don't even really know what they're looking for, let's be honest, bam, done. But they have a caveat at the bottom of the LabCorp slip that says, asterisk, this is not a diagnosis for parasitic infection. You just don't show a parasite currently in your stool. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why. So if you do the stool test and then you do a blood test all in the same time frame, they cannot take antiparasitics for 2 weeks prior to doing the stool test or prior to doing the blood test. You have to allow a 2-week buffer from the time that they start and come in and say, this is what's going on with me, to the time that they stop. And that is a huge thing that is not talked about, is that you have to do a 2-week buffer that allows anything to build up. It allows any toxins to come into your system. And then you aren't just getting your blood work, right? You're doing multiple different type of testing. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just so exciting.
That's really helpful, because like I said, often most doctors are like, well, I did a poop test, or a patient says to me, well, I had a poop test. And then the other funniest thing to me is just everyone thinks that, well, just if you come to this country, this border does not have parasites.
They don't.
But if you go to another country just south of the border, but the funny thing is, where did our food come from? You go to the grocery stores, your strawberries just came from what South American country?
And I don't think that they realize that when they're collecting I talked about this yesterday on one of my lives. When they're collecting them, they don't have anywhere to go in the field to the bathroom. So, like just that alone, you should soak your produce. The chick that got the worm in her brain, she ate raw produce and didn't soak it. That's how she got the worm in her brain. It's a specific lettuce in Australia that a python went across the lettuce and pooped on it, which had a python poop worm. That's why they're saying it's the first, not the first in her brain, but the first of this specific roundworm, that they named it and everything. I'm all, it's not really the first. Let's be real. It's just the first that you guys want to admit. Yeah. Trust me, I run a business that we see worms all day long. It's all we do. Like when we hire people, we have to say, are you okay looking at worms? Because you can open my DMs, you could open up the emails. Like we have an entire page that just shows all the worms. And when they need an identification, people pop their pictures in there on my team. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know, it's just the first that they're going to admit. Let's be completely transparent here. Worms are here. We've all had worms. Everyone gets worms. Egyptians have tried to warn us that we have worms. This isn't just something that started yesterday or because I went viral over on TikTok and got a nickname, Worm Queen. It didn't just start. Like it's been here for our whole lives.
That's, you know, at a conference I went to that Dr. Jess spoke at, and she was amazing. She's brilliant. There was one of the speakers said, here's the test to see if you have parasites. Find your pulse.
Yeah.
You feel a pulse.
Yeah.
You've got parasites.
It's just a matter of how they're going to disrupt your system, right? Yeah. Was it Cellcore? I love Cellcores. I really love Cellcore. I think they're great. They're just a different mode of a parasite cleanse. I actually take their vodka and their drain and their lymph and their binder. Like I love the products, and his story is really amazing, inspiring as well. I think that that's what makes it so passionate for all of us, is that like at some point we've all just had enough, us inventors of these products. I'd had enough. Like I'm 40, I'll be 45 next year. I've had enough, you know, like.
Well, yeah. And healthcare providers that go into, you know, functional medicine, they've had enough too. And oftentimes from their own journey, like myself, of stupid stories. We've all had them of like, you know, you spend $400 to see a GI doc for them to be like, check your thyroid.
Yeah.
Like, and
Girl,
you go, thank you. This helped a lot. Yeah. But yeah, and it all, you know, it's interesting because everybody that we interact as providers, the patient's all at a different point. So some people I'm talking about water filtration. Others, it's adrenal cocktail. Please get your sodium and potassium right. Others, magnesium, beef liver, or as much as they're willing to take. And it just really, the basics of just that foundational, you're stressed out, you need magnesium. And then, and maybe a parasite detox.
Think about it. Mexico, Guatemala, Latin America, Korea, they do it twice a year minimum with synthetics. Like they know, or they have symptoms and they're like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to take this one pill, not this crazy 30-day. I mean, trust me, our kid is the most mellow you can possibly use for a parasite cleanse.
Yes. I'm really excited for my son for it.
Have you done it yet?
It's on its way, I believe. I have a almost 15-year-old, and he refuses to take pills.
Yeah, we're easy.
So I'm like, we're doing Parafy for you, buddy. Like the whole family.
So good. It's so good. Tinctures just hit different, you know. They do. And you can actually take and open up our Cinnabon if he doesn't want to take the binder. We call our binder Cinnabon. You can open it and put it in applesauce. Like, it's just a matter of, because I have pill exhaustion. I take so many pills. It's all day, every day. I still take a ton of pills. I don't know. I think like 30 supplemental pills, but I take a lot of functional mushrooms. And so I'll take like 4 pills of each mushroom that I take. So it's quite a bit. So I don't want to have to take any more to like do a cleanse. And I don't want it to have to fight in my system with all the other pills as it's trying to break down. And how much of it am I really getting if they're stealing 90% of my nutrients? How much of this cleanse am I really getting into my system? But when you take a tincture, bam, it's done. Your body doesn't have to break it down the same way it breaks pills down. And our modes of transportation for that is so much better. I did not want to learn all of this in my second half of my life. Like, as I'm chronically ill trying to heal, I'm like, I guess I'm going to have to sit down and like study. I have like 3 weeks, I guess, is when I started the kit. I had 3 weeks. I sat down and it's all I did. My husband and I are building a log home ourselves, just the two of us. That's what made us up here. And I had to sit down with him one day and I said, I can't do both anymore. I can't go on TikTok and build a business and build this house. I'm like, I have to I have to put the house to the side. Like, I have to say goodbye to helping you. You're going to have to do this on your own.
Oh man. Well, it's a lot. I am just so impressed because when you look at all the ingredients, it's like, hello, cilantro, heavy metal.
Yep.
Like the information, the data on that is so fun to look into.
I had mercury poisoning. That's why I picked cilantro. I had mercury poisoning from my teeth, from my crowns.
So, I mean, so many people have it.
Yep.
I mean, there's mercury in all the vaccinations.
Yep.
There's mercury in the fillings. There's.
Yep.
Yeah, we all have it.
We do.
Yeah. But awesome.
I did. I loved her. Her name was Erica. She was up in the Seattle area. I loved how she taught me scraping, which now is really gua sha if you do it in the Chinese side. And so I loved her. She changed kind of the way that I really looked at how my pelvis really operated with all of these issues that I had with my pelvic, you know, and understanding, like, it's kind of, I mean, people that are on here understanding, you know, how to be intimate with someone when you're having pains like you are, and also understanding, like, just the way you sit can cause issues. And just, she'd go in, and it was very, for a while, you know, she could actually like touch my abdomen and my pelvis without me just being like crazy pain. But like, I was so like, you couldn't barely touch me.
Well, yeah, I mean, we see a lot of people in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And sometimes even just barely assessing someone, it can trigger trauma.
Yep, that's what happened with me.
It's anyone that goes to pelvic therapy, you know, they usually start out pretty scared. They're like,
yeah,
who is this person?
Yeah.
Who is this person, and what's the agenda here? Right. I don't know. I've got pain. Yeah. But we're not typically scary.
And usually you guys are like to the point where we're not going to be able to get to that level of health that our minds want us to be in. So for me, that's how it was with me. It was like, there's not much left we can do. You need to go and get this person and have this person start to help you. And I'm like, well, what is this person going to do for me? Like, how come you can't do that? You know, why aren't you telling me what this person's doing? You should be educated enough to tell me what my pelvic therapist is going to do for me. Like,
I know,
and
we all get trained in, right? Well, I mean, in the medical field, everyone gets trained within silos.
Yeah.
That's the issue that we're facing even with endo, because the endosurgeons are working in a silo of surgery.
Yes.
Functional medicine people are working with a silo of functional medicine, and often they're not talking. So it's kind of crazy for this, who am I, this pelvic therapist, to be talking about parasites, because I'm stepping outside of my silo.
Well, and that's why everyone asks, how do they not know? Well, they do, but you're afraid you're going to get sued because you have a license, right? And so you're limited on what you can talk about if you go out of your scope of practice. I mean, really, it really is like a big circle silo. I like the silo analogy because that's really what it is.
Well,
I don't think the general public knows that.
And it's, you know, earlier on in my career, I would get angry at the lack of understanding of pelvic pain from providers. Like what I experienced it years and years ago, I had admitted to a female doctor that I had pain with intimacy, and she left the room, said nothing, came back, handed me a business card for a psychiatrist.
Yep.
And, you know, later for a while I processed that and thought, oh, it's all in my head, there's nothing I can do. Then I became a therapist, and then I started getting angry at ignorance. But at this point, I am not angry. I just understand the training of the silos, and they're not missing.
They're not. They're in their own steel building, and they're not able to put the telephone through it. Like, it's just not, the Wi-Fi is not going to the other side. It's just not.
So there's no, for me, there's no blame.
Right.
It's just you and I talking is pushing things forward.
Yeah.
You know, us getting the word out is really important.
Oh, I have
because people at
I'll have the blame for you. I blame. Like,
you're pissed. You should be. That's a lot of freaking surgeries. That's a long history.
13. I've had surgery since I was 20, and I'm 45 next month. And I had hysterectomy when I was 29. and they said by 25 I would, like, it's not looking good. And so I waited till I was 29, and yeah, I mean, it was a life-changing event that you can never go back in. And there isn't like a fake uterus if you want to have children. Like, you have to be ready to be like, this is it. You're not gonna have, well, and it's not even just about the kid, not having a kid or having a kid. It really is about the long-term trauma that I've had because of it, the amount of PTSD I have because my hysterectomy was botched. So, it's just really about how my health has very much declined in a way that, like, I never thought it would. And I probably would have thought differently and just been okay with some of the bleeding that I had. I mean, I bled for like a year straight. Like, it was so much bleeding. They could not get it under control. And now I look back, I'm like, well, was it really just endometriosis? Like, what else was going on, So it really is. And then you, like, lose that trust in doctors, and that's a disappointment because that's my field. Like, that's where my people are. And so it really is kind of a sad scenario. And then you're just kind of left chronically ill at home alone, and no one really understands. And it really is kind of a double-edged sword, because you're like, I feel so terrible going to work, but then I also am going to call in sick and I'm going to lose my job,
Yep. Well, yeah. And it's an invisible disease.
Yeah.
No one can see it on the outside, and women are gaslighted.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe intentionally or not intentionally, but they are. And people would just get over it. It's just take an Advil.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I would say we're about to get Parafy. I've been doing other I'm currently parasite detoxing right now because full moon yesterday.
Right.
Super moon.
Super
get
moon.
Them out.
Super full moon. It was pretty intense. It was a pretty intense day for sure.
And I've gotten a couple of friends to do their very first parasite detox with me this weekend or this week. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. I've got friends, I don't want to out her. She's from Barbados, a professional with a doctorate. And you talk to people from these islands and they're like, yeah, we do parasite cleanses.
They look at you. Oh, the comments. I just got to say, if anybody ever gets bored, go over to TikTok, go to my account and read the comments, because you get like you're a liar, you're a fraud, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're an idiot. And then you get you're dumb because your country doesn't know this. And I'm like, oh, I know. Oh, I know I'm dumb. I know all of us are. We just put our heads in the sand. There is no way Western medicine countries could have parasites. Like, I'm talking the countries like Australia and UK and Canada and us. Like,
they're like, no, our country's better.
Our water
don't come here.
Yeah. Like,
that's why
our water was positive, right? Like, we live in Washington. They don't test our water in this state. They don't test it for parasites. They test it for bacteria. If it comes back negative, it's fine. It's fine. But that's not the case. Like, parasites and bacteria don't always live together in harmony. And so it's mold and bacteria that live together in harmony, because mold eats bacteria, but not parasites.
To clean it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why, I'm teaching people about water filtration. Filter your dang water.
Yep. You have to have one micron.
And not the refrigerator one.
Right.
Not the little pitcher, please. That's not filtering.
Well, Pure will feel Pure, the filter system Pure. It'll do Cryptosporidium, Parvium, and Giardia, which are the two top common water parasites.
That's
the protozoas.
No.
Yeah, but Brita is trash.
The Brita,
Brita's trash.
That's what I mean,
it actually adds stuff into the water that wasn't in the water to begin with the tap water. So it's trash. We recommend, because Jeremy and I have, I think 15 filters on our water system now. We also have 2 UV lights. So the water comes in and you have to have a 1 micron or smaller water filter. So it has to be 1 micron or smaller on your filter. And so we have 3 filters, and then it goes up to the light. There's a UV light, and it'll kill anything that could possibly come through.
How long does the water stay with the UV light? Is it just
not very long? It's a constant. You turn it on, it constantly is moving. And then it comes into our house, and there's another UV light that's in our house. And then it goes into, depending on if we're going to shower with the water or drink it. So we have 2 splits. One just goes shower, because I got it from the fact that I used my retainer, I brushed my teeth, I was rinsing my produce with my water, the wash machine, the dishwasher, and I would wash my hands before I put in my contacts, and I had one in my eye. I had one in my eye for a year, so it would like slowly pass by here and then kind of hang out here and then pass by again. And so I had one washing my hands, and sometimes I would use my water if like I couldn't find my saline solution for my contacts, and so I just infected myself. And so, or I opened my mouth in the shower like we all do, right? That's how I got so sick the last few years. But anyway, so it would come into the showers. We have 2 different filter systems. You have to filter your water. Like there's pharmaceuticals in our water. I mean, they've come out and said it. There's heavy metals in our water. And they think that people out there really do believe that they're testing our water faithfully, and they don't. They don't test it at all.
Not for very much. If they do, they're not testing for much at all.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do use like a Aqua True at this point. I don't have a whole house filter, and I'm like, at least there's 3 reverse osmosis.
No, reverse osmosis is the best. I'm going to tell you, we probably would have been way sicker if Jeremy and I had not drank reverse osmosis water, because we weren't drinking the contaminated water. We were just bathing and doing all of the extras with it. So we weren't actually drinking it. Our ice was even through filtered water. It was all filtered with a reverse osmosis system. So we probably would have been
we have our own little ice maker that sits on our counter, so we can put our reverse osmosis water in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot, guys.
It is. And I'm a lot. You can watch this again. I'm not ready to go yet, but we'll put it on both of our accounts. You can go to our account and learn. I talk about this all day. That's all my account is now. It's just educating you on parasites, but know in the back of your mind, it's the root cause of almost all chronic illnesses to start out. Like when your body can't.
The thing I also learned from another great friend that does, it's a functional medicine, is she said that there's a better order. It's good to do the parasites before you go after mold.
Yes, because they hold the spores, the heavy metals. So with Parify, we do our tinctures are parasites, candida, and heavy metal, because what happens is the heavy metals weight down the parasites, and when you remove those heavy metals, you're actually allowing the parasites to fly around in your system, to swim around your system freely. So you're trying to get in there and actually remove them while you're kind of taking that weight up off of them. And that was one thing that I found. There just wasn't anything out there explaining why you should do a heavy metal or a minimal heavy metal detox. I'm not talking like major heavy metal detox. I'm talking like I use cilantro and shiitake. Shiitake mushrooms is also a heavy metal detoxer herb, as well as a radiation remover. So that specific mushroom is really amazing for those things. We have it in one of our tinctures called Recover. It's awesome. But going back to the parasite part of it, you've got your parasites, candida, and the heavy metals, and they're all weighted down, right? So you're trying to remove that to let them flow freely and think that they're, ooh, we're going to move around here. Oh no, we're going to come in and get rid of you with wormwood, the Oregon grapefruit, the black walnut hull, the usnea. It's going to clean up all of the stuff you leave behind. And unfortunately, with my system, what happened with me was once I removed all of the parasitic activity going on in my body, the mold took over. And wormwood actually can suppress mold poisoning. And so here I am, I'm taking all this wormwood, I'm like drinking Parify, I feel better, I get off of it for 7 days, and I find out that I have mold poisoning because my eyes started to swell shut, and I started to not feel very good again. I lost half of my hair. My hair used to be really thick. I lost half of my hair, and it's all because I removed the parasites, but I didn't come in and remove and kill out the spores with something like fennel, right? So I was doing all these things. Wormwood was suppressing it, and then it was allowed to come in and take over. And so it wasn't just like 50-50. It came in and it was like, okay, so you're gone. Guess what? It's my property now. And so the mold just had a heyday in my body. And so it's really important that you do give yourself the 7 days, just in case you are dropping some spores that in fact might cause some havoc in your body. And that's where we came up with Moldies, was because that was all the herbs I used to get my levels from mold. I mean, I was at like, I should be in the hospital level mold.
People don't understand how ill they can get from mold. I mean, but I've talked to patients that have been on very long journeys of getting over mold. I mean, years to recover.
This will be lengthier than parasites. I'm going to say, and I didn't share my mold journey very much because it was harder than parasites could ever be. Like, it was one of the hardest cleanses I've ever done. And that's why we created Moldies, because I wanted something that people would have an understanding. I had no directions. Like, my doctor sent me stuff, but I couldn't necessarily take everything because one of them made me constipated and I couldn't do that. And then I got on another kind of one and I'm like, oh, there's no directions. There's no one to tell me how I'm supposed to feel on this. I did mold avoidance. So I was away from like everyone in life. I was basically in a hotel room for 30 days, not being around any potential mold. So I did mold avoidance and I did the herbs that are in Moldies, and my levels were cut in half. I'm supposed to go this month and get my new levels, which I don't feel like I have any more mold in my body. So I've been on this journey every month for a year, actually yesterday.
Of the journey of mold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Parasites. And then I did 1 year almost to the day for mold. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I feel like, and I feel like there's two sides of this coin, like to describe for people. There's the kill off the stuff, but then there's also support the host.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where like the lifestyle stuff,
right?
The eating cleaner, the avoiding inflammatory things.
Yes.
Two sides of the coin. Kill the crap, live clean.
And you have to also be prepared. Like, I had EBV drop, I had CMV drop. I did not know how many viruses are hung on with inside parasites, because it wasn't something that was talked about. It's not something that was out there. You had to join subscriptions. Like, I love Dr. Jess, and that's how I found out about a lot of what was going on with my mold, because I didn't have the time. We had just started this business. Like, we've been in business for 2 years, and last year we started to go very viral. And so I'm trying to like hang on to just me with like 600,000 followers across all of my platforms while building a business and being chronically ill and trying to finish my log home while living in a moldy travel trailer. Like, American dream. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Your story is awesome. I love it. The fact that you put together, I mean, the cost of your kit is so nothing compared to everything you've gone through.
I could not charge people, man. I couldn't charge people. Like, $100 I feel is very reasonable. I feel like anybody can afford that. And if not, they can reach out to us and we talk with them and we see what we can do. But like, thanks for those kind words.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just because I get to see people's stories over and over again. And, the endometriosis, the not able to have children, the $30,000 on one round of IVF. I had one patient recently, that's what they're being charged right now. So all those secondary complications of endo are not cheap.
Just cleanse first. Just do a real good body cleanse. If you're able to remove those toxins and those overburdens in your body just for 30 days and you allow yourself to get to a homeostasis level, you'll never know what'll happen unless you do it. We've had 4 people that I know of that were trying and got pregnant after they did our kit within 6 weeks.
Well, the heavy metals. There is research on heavy metals and infertility. There is.
Overburdens. And the thing is like, for me, I'm very overburdened. My dad was military and I was in Western medicine. What do you think happened all day, every day? Like, and they wouldn't pay for titers to see if in fact I still had immunity towards that specific jab, right? So I would go get another one because I couldn't afford a titer. I couldn't afford to find out. So it'd be like, I'll just go get another one then. I think I ended up with like 70. I think I've had about 70 vaccines. Like,
it's a lot. Yeah, they're just not making them yet without
the
yucky stuff.
Yeah, it's really kind of a sad scenario, but at the same time, they are really needed in some areas. So don't think that I'm like, I'm not anti. I just believe that there's limits, and like you should, when you do it, you then should kind of help your body adjust to having that back into your system, and you just cleanse. Like, it really is important to release some of those burdens that your organs are going through.
Well, and then EMF and radiation, we're not getting away from that unless you live real out in the woods.
I live real out now.
You know, well, our family just moved last year, and we went to a website that showed like how many cell phone towers there were.
Yeah.
And so where we did live, we were closer to town, and I don't know what, our score was really pretty high. And we moved farther out, and it was like, oh, much better.
I want
much
that.
Less radiation.
That? I want to see that one that we sent it to me. I'll do like a little video on it.
Yeah.
I think that would be good. I'd like to see, I know we don't have a whole lot, you know, the Hoh rainforest, right? You know, in Washington.
Yes.
I live on
I didn't remember the name.
I live on the outskirts of Hoh.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a freaking rainforest in Washington is like, what? I grew up in Southern California. I didn't know we had a rainforest up here.
Not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people.
Yeah.
We just have, ours looks green like you, but it's just bigger trees.
Oh yeah. This is just a little wetland behind us. Yeah. But green. I love it.
It's so good.
And it'll get greener with more rain that just hit this week.
Yes.
Yes. So when someone's just dealing with day-to-day EMF radiation, then what is it that helps with radiation?
Oh,
is it the mushroom?
You're talking about use our Recover. So our Recover tincture, we sell all of our tinctures by themselves, but we have it in our Moldies kit, and it has oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, and it has milk thistle and pumpkin seed, and it's a tincture. So we do what they call leach. So you leach out all of the medicinal value into the mushroom, and mushrooms can be double extracted. So we alcohol out all of that specific medicinal value, and then we then remove water-based medicinal values that are in it. So we make a tea, and then we put them together. So you get both options. So we call it double extracting. So you double extract mushrooms.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think, realizing the more we read about how EMF is going to be the cigarette smoking of our day, we probably should be taking things along with that exposure that's kind of not going anywhere.
Right. You know how they figured out that shiitake was an anti-radiation cleanser was when we bombed Japan. It absorbed all of the radiation. So it absorbed it all, and they watched how the mushroom absorbed it and then dispersed it. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's one good thing of, I know. Yeah. Wow.
But that's how,
Wow. Oh, okay. So thank you for the study session.
Yeah. I love this.
I can't get enough of this, but the hardest part as a clinician is I have to be the curator.
Yeah.
I've learned, but I can't just fire hose my patients when they're not ready.
And that's why I was never a practitioner like that, because I do it all day.
It's hard. I get that slight hint that someone's slightly open. I'm like, hey, just Google case reports of parasites and endometriosis, or go look at ewg.org and check on your zip code for your water. You know?
I'm down here with the flashlight. Just come on down. I will overwhelm you. But I will sit with you for days to talk about it.
Evidenced by the worm pictures, which has drawn a lot of people in. And
oh my God. Roger's Hood, man. Oh, and I used to put those on our TikTok account, and they didn't like me, and they permanently banned me for multiple reasons. And that was one of them. And then I was like, I won't do it anymore. So I got back, but.
So you can't show worm pictures.
That's why we don't show them anywhere. I mean, there's some, like I did this joke one today where it's like Hannah Montana with them in the background, but I used to make a production of it. It used to be, it's that time of week again. And I would be like, let's talk about these worms. And I would identify the worms. People were sending me drones of pictures that they had out of their stool and asking me, and we still do it. I mean, I'm gonna say we get like 100 a day sometimes. It just depends on what cycle of cleansing. We're gonna do a group cleanse here in September, and we'll get a lot from that. Or if I talk about it like this, we get mass amounts. But yes, I used to do like, this is an egg, this is tapeworm, this is roundworm. When I used to break down the flukes, and I used to tell people what it looked like and what they were. But I would do it in a fun way, like, oh my God, look at this tapeworm. And like, it did not go well on TikTok.
It's just, I love it. But no, it's proving, because you've got the culture that the society we live in that says we don't have them. And here you are going, hello?
What's this? And I'll call people out too. I'll be like, and this is definitely not a worm, okay, in the comments. Like, I was a bigger troll than anyone that trolls me. So good luck, you know?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, user 34967. Yes.
Yeah. But I would do it fun. I wouldn't just be like, I wouldn't just dedicate the whole video. I would put the comment right here, and then I would do the whole charade. Like, this is an egg, and this came out of the person's eye, and people are like, ah, you know.
Well, it's because we've just been living in such like head in the sand.
Oh yeah.
No. Because, you know, the only source of illness could possibly be bacteria and virus.
Yeah, that's it. That's what the worms hold.
Allergies.
Yeah.
And allergies.
They hold that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a gluten allergy anymore. I don't have a dairy allergy anymore. And I used to be deathly allergic to onions. And now I just am nervous because I swell up and stuff. But I don't have the same allergies. I eat gluten all the time, and which, you know, not always a good thing, but I do eat gluten, and I also eat dairy, and I used to not be able to at all, and now I can. So it's kind of like that difference of, well, I gave this up for a little bit, and now here I am doing something that I'm able to just kind of be normal. I'm, you know, if we go out to dinner, I'm not as, oh, I can't have that bread. I'll be like, yeah, I can have a couple bites of that bread. It's okay. I'm not going to die later, because that's what used to happen, you know?
Yes. Well, I mean, an onion, if you go to a restaurant, everything has garlic and onions in them.
I'm good with garlic. I still am like onion allergy, but yeah, I mean, it was bad. I used to carry an EpiPen.
Wow. And again, a lot of people have a very fixed mindset, because that's all they've been told is, if you're allergic to this, this is your forever.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't fix that. Right.
Well, and then I don't know if you've heard of NAET practitioners. They do, it's like a energy medicine. It's not woo.
Yes.
They'll do muscle testing for allergies and can do nervous system treatments that help your nervous system stop hating the thing and reacting so viciously.
Are they the ones that do the
magnet
testing? They do the magnet testing too. Is that them?
Well, it depends on the practitioner, right? Because these people end up having lots of skills, but I've got a dear friend that is an NAET or NATE practitioner, and they'll test different organs. There's a lot of Chinese medicine overlap, but dang, people come in with anaphylaxis and then they're fine.
Do you have like a place there in Vancouver that all of these people are at?
No, it's finding the people. I have a dear friend that is very talented. She does not need to market, and I just keep sending patients her way.
Is she in Vancouver?
Yeah.
I'll come there.
Yeah.
I'd like to come there.
She's one of the best practitioners I've ever met.
Okay. Yeah. We should talk offline about it, because I totally I travel all over the country to go see good practitioners.
This one's one. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. She just did it. My husband and I beta tested a metabolic program for her, and had such amazing results that we're just like, yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, really good. I know.
Having our kit tested, we sent Root Cause Clinic. Do you know who they are?
Cause Protocol?
Yeah,
or Root Cause Clinic, but they're like Root Cause
the
Protocol.
Same. Yeah, we just sent our kit, all of our products to them to have it tested with them. Yeah, so
for them to test as
to be able to tell us what can be used with our kit, like mast cell and
nice.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing. It's the root cause protocol, because I very much align with them.
Yeah.
It's that is, help the host and
Mm-hmm.
then kill the crap.
Yeah.
Clarify, cell core, kill the crap, support the host.
Yeah. I just got theirs to test to be like an affiliate with them. And then they want to add our stuff to their protocols and then test against all the different things that potentially could or wouldn't help our kit help them. So
awesome.
Yeah. And then
this is awesome. We're just at the tip of the iceberg, I think.
We are. So we're also following a GMP certification standard for FDA registry. And we're in the process of all of our products. In addition, we're sending all of the herbs that we organically and ethically have sourced. But then they all have their certifications. But I'm like, well, yours is going into mine and I need mine to make sure. So we're actually finalizing that up this week.
That's no simple feat.
No, it's been a lot. And then we bought 3.12 acres of land, and we just finished our sketch of our shop. So we're in a 3,400 square foot shop now, and we're going to a 7,000 square foot shop that we're building, and we'll be done in 6 months. So we're not taking this lightly. Like, we're serious. Like, we need this to be people's protocols that they can help themselves with. Like, we've seen and tested this for 2 years now, and like this is real,
This is and this is similar to, I love it. I love that you're just going straight to the people and skipping the middleman, the people that are supposed to know everything and be the curator, but they're not going there.
Right.
That's similar to, this is why pelvic health has gotten a bigger name now, because when I got into the field in 2010, into the specialty of pelvic health, it was this quiet, secret little specialty of physical therapy. No one knew about it. Doctors weren't often referring to us. Right. And so thank you, social media, because pelvic therapists around the world have just gone straight to the community to educate. Yeah. So it's that same vibe of, hey, let's just empower the people and stop trying to fight the system.
I'm not trying to fight any system. One, because we're self-funded.
Circumventing it.
I circumvented it 100%. Yeah. I took the $6,000 that I had put aside for my countertops and started this company. That's how dedicated I was. Like, I don't really need countertops then. I'm good. I'll just use boards. Like, I don't care. Like it was more important to bring it to the people. That sounds so weird, but yeah.
No. But yeah, you're just fired up because you're saving your past self, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the hugs. I'm like, come here.
Well, I mean, you can't go back in time and do the things that you needed probably so far long ago. Yeah. Yeah.
I said if I ever found a reason, I would be as loud as I possibly could be. And I didn't care. I said that. Like, one day I was laying in bed and I'm like, I can't do surgery again. And I went to my doctor and I said, I'm constipated. I haven't pooped in a month. It's very uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I have all of this buildup. And she goes, try a Miralax. And I'm like, really? Wait a minute. Really? And I know you know who this is. I'm not going to say her name because I'm pretty viral. And I know you know who I saw up here. She used to be in Oregon and now she's here. And so I was like, that's it? Like, that's all you got for me? You're not even oh my God, I'm so sorry you haven't pooped in a month. Nothing. It was nothing. And I'm like, wow, that's
well,
sad.
You know, when you talk to someone like my friend down here, you know, if you had an issue, it would be do this, do this, do this. You need this much water, have this much whole food vitamin C to bowel tolerance. I mean, you'd be getting lots of just, it's go time. Yeah. You'd get lots of information. I mean, hello, castor oil.
Yeah, didn't know about those until this parasite journey. Like, I was 42 on the journey. So 42 years, I had no idea that you could literally bathe in castor oil to help you poop. You could take cream of tartar, okay? Cream of tartar is a natural stool softener.
And the potassium, right?
Yeah, because that's
I knew about the potassium.
That's all it is. Okay. Cream of tartar is just potassium. It's just a fancy name for potassium. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's just, it is potassium, 100%. So you're taking
That's
it.
hilarious.
And
okay.
you can't just take psyllium husk, because that's what Miralax is psyllium husk. It actually will dehydrate you and cause you more damage. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then she goes, if it gets too runny, then you need to take this. And I'm like, okay, so I'm telling you that like we're 2 years into this gig after all these surgeries and I'm in excruciating pain still and I'm not pooping and I'm supposed to just take this. I'm like, I don't get it.
And that's most of the protocol for pediatrics too.
Yeah.
Is Miralax.
Yeah. Which is really not fab for you. You should do castor oil packs. Make yourself a adrenal fatigue cocktail, cream of tartar. And I know it's tartar. I say tartar, but other people say tartar. Tartar.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing. I went viral and I was like, I'm saying cream of tartar until the day I die.
Not going back.
Yeah, not going back. So you do that with Celtic sea salt, which adds the magnesium in and helps you. And then you do coconut water. And like, that is what a lot of our people that are constipated on our kit will do to help. And then they do the castor oil on their abdomen, but it's not necessarily a pack always. They'll do red light because the red light will penetrate the different dermas of your skin and will actually help break down the toxins with the castor oil. So if you do your castor oil and then you just do a red light for 20 minutes and you just sit there, you're going to poop. And then you can also do a castor oil.
I didn't know this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Castor oil on actually anywhere. So I'll do castor oil and then I'll sit in my red light sauna by Therasage and I'll just be like,
I want a sauna. But that's the slippery slope, right? We're all at a different place in the journey. You get the water filter, you start changing your food, you start taking cod liver oil every day, then mushrooms, then parasite. And then people like us are like, ooh, I want a sauna.
Yeah. I'm like, what else can I get? Right. I love the Therasage sauna. Like, this isn't an ad because I talked about it way before I was even affiliate with them. I love it. It's like the best thing I've ever done for my health.
Are you doing the sit, like the one that you zip up?
Yeah.
Oh, look at the yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. I just want the one like outside of my house and just like 4 people.
That's what I really want. But I'm like, this one's gonna have to do, right?
You're still
have my
building your dream house.
Yeah, we're still building. Like, literally, this is what we're doing right now. My husband's out there. We're literally still building. Like, we don't have an upstairs. We have an upstairs, but we don't have a staircase to go upstairs. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And yeah, we're literally still building it. We took off like 6 months, but he would do a couple of days a week. So he runs Rogers Hood on his side about 3 days a week, 4 days a week. And then he has been pivoting over to finishing this, but.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. You're going to look back on all of this and just go, how the heck did we do all of that?
No, I do it. I do that I'm like, how did I make it today?
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yep. Definitely would love to meet you in real life. Definitely connect you with my person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love it. I think it would be really good for my husband too. I like to, he's been involved in all of this now. Like, having a guy do it is so different, right? Because most guys are like, no, but I'm all, Jeremy, you have worms. Like, let's get after this. Like, let's start. Like, let's not go into the rest of the second half of our life just sick, right?
Well, after we did our metabolic, I'd been on a long journey. My husband had not, but we did this metabolic reset, like a detox protocol. And my husband is a changed man.
Cool.
He looks at food labels and is like, that's seed oil and that. Oh, that's too much sugar. I mean, he is not going back. He lost a lot of weight and he feels so good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about a diet. It was about resetting our metabolism and getting the crap out.
Mm-hmm.
And
it gets stuck. It gets stuck in us. It does. It's like yesterday when I was on a live, I did back-to-back lives this week. Yesterday I was on a live and I said, you got to think about when like water gets in your engine from your gas, how do you clean that out, right? Like, you get your oil gets too thick. You have to change your oil. We have to do that as humans. This is a car, and what you put in that car, if it's crappy, then it's going to clog stuff up. And the fastest way to get crappy gas is parasites and not washing your produce, not having clean water, you know, walking outside barefoot, but not taking the precautions. If you do that, or gardening without gloves, which is just cleansing, like you're just going to give your body a fighting chance. All you're doing is creating an inhospitable environment. They don't want to live in you. I'm inhospitable. I've had worms that I know I probably was not responsible. I've gone on cruises. The food is not always the greatest. Slide on out, because they don't want to live in me anymore. Where before they would take harbor, right? They would harbor
especially with a diet with sugar and a lot of dairy.
Yes. So there comes a point though in your journey where you're allowed to take those breaks. Will I ever eat salmon? No, I'll never eat salmon again, ever. I can't do it. It sucks. There's too many salmon videos, but I have done crab because they steam it above 212, and I've done lobster because they've steamed it. But then I immediately took my Parafy, like droppers full, after my dinner, because I'm like, I'm not chancing this.
And I know people that are just lifelong sushi eaters. You like sushi, you need to para-cleanse, man.
Yeah, you're going to be a lifelong fluke lover, and your liver is going to be thrashed, and you're going to be like, how do I have a fatty liver? And it looks like my liver's failing, and I've never had a drink of alcohol. It's because you literally just allowed the environment to live with flukes, liver flukes, and blood flukes. Like, you allowed it because you're not going in and telling them it's time to leave. I'm evicting you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Well, and there was a lecture at a conference talking about how liver toxicity and liver, like fatty liver, makes people angsty, ragey.
Right.
That was fascinating.
You do know that that's why a lot of people that have mold poisoning and have Lyme lash out, is because it affects your liver on a level in which your cells can't structure it properly. So that's when I started to realize that there was something else going on with me than just parasites, because the mold had invaded my liver, and it really likes living there because it likes to live in cholesterol and in junk. It loves to live in that oil-based yucky bile. And so I noticed that while I was doing mold detoxing, they had you do a mass amount of cholesterol cleansing. So I would do my anti-mold herbs, and then they would have you do anti-cholesterol, like a powder, or all of the oils were a flaxseed base, a safflower base, which those are all cholesterol. So spores live in the cholesterol, but your liver is your last part. That's why it's called the fatty liver. So the spores go in and live in there, which your liver is your emotion of anger, aggression, and depression.
Says Chinese medicine, right?
Yes.
But then it's actually legit.
Yes, and that's why you have angry drunks. Right?
Yes.
Because their liver is highly affected.
Yes.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
And they probably have mold, and for sure parasites. Most alcoholics will drink more because they're just feeding that parasite. And then the parasite is absorbing any of the mold. And you know, a healthy person can go in and out of mold pretty easily. But when you're super chronically ill, like most of us are, you can't just go in and out. The body then goes into a like PTSD stop mode. And then it goes into a protective mode, which they call as the SIRS, which is the inflammation mode of what happens when you have mold toxicity. And then it inflames your brain. So then your brain doesn't know how to deal with anxiety, and the anxiety sits right here, which then is produced from your liver. And so the spores then will connect to that. So like, because Jeremy and I have been very heavily exposed to mold, we've gone into certain hotels, or we've gone into Airbnbs and had to leave immediately, where other people,
because you can tell.
Yes. And it's because our body goes into that.
Canaries.
Yep. And then I'm an angry cleanser, and I know now why. And I didn't really know before. And Dr. Jess, Wellness Plus, and Dr. Jess, she's done consultations with me. I've gone and visited her in person, and she's super amazing. And I would have never known most of the stuff about the mold that I do now, and how they coincide with each other and hang out, and why I was such an angry person. I'm really not that angry. But that moment that my body goes into that defense mode, I am super mean.
You know, your liver is triggered.
Oh yeah.
I have a dear friend that has adopted 2 children at the age of babies that were meth addicted. And there's a lot going on. And so this friend had contacted me to talk to my smart friend. And she said that, like, with her son, she went to a naturopath and they had do mold detox with him before parasites. And he got major ragey as a little boy, you know, just major tantrums that wasn't himself. And thankfully my friend was like, well, you need to go after the parasite first. You poked the bear. Right. The liver is obviously overburdened, but you got to go back.
And I guess the way to kind of think about it is, how can you remove the seeds of like a red bell pepper without cutting it open first, right? So you look at the red bell pepper is the parasites, and you've got to remove the seeds in order to eat it all. In order to do that, you have to cut it open and remove what, you know, and so the spores are the seeds. So you got to kind of look at it that way. In order to get in there and really get after them, you got to open it up and
that's a good analogy.
Get rid of what is in the way of it, you know? And so I really can say that, like, just the few amount of herbs that are in moldies, which I kept it as basic as I could, when I'm feeling ragey, I will sit and I will do that like for 4 or 5 days. It's like my rage supplement. It's what I do with moldies, because it's really important to just be able to know that, like, that shit's flowing through your body and there's nothing I could do differently. It's just, how can I go and do it forward?
Yeah. And I wish that people understood how much their emotions were impacted by this.
Oh yeah. And you know, mold can be transferred down in utero. So can parasites. So if she gave birth to a meth addict, so my mom had sarcoidosis, which is a deteriorating tissue disease that they don't have a whole lot of studies on, but we all now know that it's from mold and parasite. And so she, not necessarily parasites, but most people that actually have sarcoid have blood flukes. Anyway, I digress. Okay, back. So I had mold transferred to me in her womb. And we know now, looking back, that from all of my tests that I've done and my genetics, that is 100% the truth. She passed down EBV, she passed down CMV, and she passed down Aspergillus niger to me. And more than likely, she passed down pinworms to me. But it didn't develop in my system from the pinworms until approximately age 6, which is about when my behavioral issues really started to surface. So between the mold, I had a lot of lashing out and aggression. And then when I was 10, I got bit by a bunch of ticks. So I think it just, and that's how Lyme, right? Lyme is parasites and mold. And so it really kind of starts to make sense. And that around 10 is when my behavioral issues went to the next level for them. Yeah.
Wow. And of course, regular doctors weren't going to even come close to figuring out anything.
Well, and it was sad because she took prednisone while she was pregnant with my sister and me, which just really breaks it down even more that, like, you know, if someone is taking medication and it absorbs into the baby, anything can absorb. So you just have to be more conscientious about what you have going on, because it'll actually absorb into your child too.
Wow. So you were a professor in medical schools. You're just a professor for the community at large now. You're an educator.
I like it. I like educating. I like sharing my knowledge. I enjoy these conversations that I have with people. And I worked in an environment, though, that I wasn't like-minded like them. I look at things in such a different way. And when you're in that, you know, you're in that Western medicine culture, and I'm not one to sit back and be like, I'm going to go ahead and just go with the flow. I've never gone with the flow. And so I kind of caused waves. But I worked for DeVry. That's who I worked for. I ran 25 healthcare colleges for DeVry.
Wow. Yeah. No, the education piece is where it's at, because you've got to empower people, because the stuff that actually heals, you got to do yourself.
Yeah, you do. You have to do it.
So you have to empower people, or else we're not going to get people better. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
This was really fun. Thank you for your knowledge. Appreciate it. This was a really good conversation.
Good. I know. I'm just happy to push the envelope a little bit further.
Yeah.
Just one person at a time. Yeah.
You ordered a kit? You got a kit already?
It hasn't come. I ordered it. Yes.
When did you order
it?
But
no.
Did you sign up with us to be an affiliate with us?
I have not.
Oh, you should. If you should do the kit, I'll send you the information. We have a fun little program.
Fun. But yes, I feel like I'm the outsider. I was probably the only pelvic PT at Cellcore. I'm just the only pelvic PT going, hey, look at the research on parasites. I know they're just case reports, but how was your full moon this last cycle?
Have you reached out to Dr. LJ?
Which, no, I haven't.
Oh, I'll send her to you. Okay. So side note on the Insta side with Endo, there is a endometriosis free seminar that's coming up that I did with her and her Dr. LJ, and she's a doctor that specializes endo. So she has endo and she specializes in endo. And so I have been trying to bring the endo community, because for the last year and a half, I haven't talked about my endo. Not a lot of people know.
I feel like I saw your first post and I was like,
yes,
what?
Yes, that was my first post.
Okay, because I was like, hello.
Yes, because it was, it's like sad, and I was trying to bring a different awareness, and not necessarily about my main disease, right? This is my main chronic illness. It debilitated me. It took me out of my career. I graduated valedictorian and over 7,000 people in my bachelor's. I never got to enjoy it because I was so terribly sick. And so, like this was a life-changing event. I just wasn't quite ready to talk about that. I'd already just exposed to the world that I had parasites in my butt. So, and it's like, okay, let me just keep stacking more that's going on in our life here. Like, let me just let it all out. And so I did this talk with her, and I've just felt very empowered. She's a very empowering, amazing woman here on Instagram. And I was like, I'm going to talk about it. I got off my podcast / seminar with her, and I immediately was like, I have endometriosis. That's what this is all about.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right now, people asking me, what do I do about painful periods? And there's so much lifestyle stuff here. There's no one magic pill, but you can get better.
You really can. You have to work on it. And once you can kind of start to curb those cravings with the processed sugars, because that's candida, you start to just get those things in check, and you can actually start to go, okay, what is going on with me? You get that brain fog lifted a little bit. You get a little more energy. And that's really what it's about. Like last year, I did not have the energy to move me and my husband out of the mold. I was too tired. I didn't feel good. I couldn't do it. Within like 4 or 5 days of starting to do a mold cleanse, I started to have enough energy to be able to provide things for myself that maybe I hadn't been able to for a few months before because I was so tired. Just those little moments that you need.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I really want to find out this doctor.
Yeah, let me do it right now before.
Okay.
Let me send it to you so that I.
Great.
So that she's right here. Can I find? I love her. She's just the coolest lady ever. LJ. Okay, let me send this to you. She talks about castor oil and.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Your handle. Where are you? Pelvic
Health Coach.
What got you into this?
Into pelvic health, my own story, like you. Pelvic pain. I'm an old dancer, danced my whole life. That probably led to a lot of imbalance. Probably had some endometriosis because praying by the porcelain god, puking with your period and cramping horrifically is not actually normal. So years of pelvic pain, became a pelvic PT, had birth trauma with my first child a year out of grad school. I had broken my ankle the week before. I had my first child, so delivered with a big cast.
Oh my God. You're like,
and it's funny because they, everyone was like, oh yeah, you got to get PT for your ankle. But no one said boo about the history of pelvic pain and the birth trauma. Like, oh, you'll be fine. Your baby's cute. So at that point, I realized I needed to heal myself and become a specialist because there were hardly any pelvic PTs in my area. Like, yeah. So that's what we did.
So how long ago was that?
So he was born in 2008. So that started the journey of course correcting and saving myself like you did. So
and
yeah.
Do you feel better?
I'm a recovered pelvic pain human. I used to have horrific menstrual cramps. But slowly changing my diet and nothing was quick fix.
Yeah, nothing's a quick fix.
And 20 years of GI issues. And
that's like a huge indication, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So and parasite cleansing has been huge. Yeah. I mean, I remember I did a cleanse at the beginning of this year, and it wasn't my first, and I had a marked reduction in any desire for sugar.
Yep. That candida.
I mean, it was very obvious that I just didn't want any more sugar.
And then when you do eat the sugar, you're like, oh, this tastes funny, but then it's like, no, it does not. Keep feeding it to me, please.
Yeah, my palate has changed. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like my palate changed after my first cleanse.
Yeah. I mean, I love a good dark chocolate. There's probably more emotional attachment to it than anything.
Same.
But little bits of dark chocolate are my happy place now, but I do not enjoy the traditional stuff we all were raised with. Halloween is just not the same for me anymore.
I feel like Halloween, it's an emotional attachment to the candy versus like, actually, are we really enjoying this? Now, some of it I really enjoy, and some of it I'm like, no.
Yeah, Fun Size Snickers was my kryptonite, man. It was bad. Oh, yeah. We would get the big bag, from Costco. Yeah. And I would just be like, we're just gonna grab a few.
Yeah. There's like the Walmart big bag, and then there's the Costco big bag. Like that's all
the different chocolates, and you just be finding the Snickers. Yeah, but now it's your idea, because of what we've been raised in with conventional food. And when you start stepping back from that, going, yeah, I'm good. I feel much better on this side of the fence.
Yeah. Hi, Rain. Yeah. See you in here. Hi, Rain. Rain does parasite cleansing and mold, and she works with Dr. Jess.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so grateful for everyone in this arena.
So grateful. I'm so grateful that Instagram has like welcomed me, because I'm kind of been like kicked out of the ghetto over on TikTok, because that's really what it is. It's the streets, man. It's the streets. In case that word offends anyone, it's the streets.
I've never done TikTok. I had my 13-year-old just sign me up like this past month, because I had a friend that keeps sending me TikTok videos on Instagram, and I'm like, I don't have a TikTok. Okay, 13-year-old daughter, please sign me up so I can see this random TikTok video.
It's the streets.
I don't know how to navigate.
There's so
many
over there, and it's a weird like whole bot scenario. But then people hop on the bandwagon, and then I just let it ride, because you're boosting my algorithm. So thank you. Like, the more you comment, the more it goes up, the more viral I get. Thank you. But over here, it's like, so we have team, right? I have a team. We have like 27 employees. We're a pretty big business. And then my team is like 6 of us, and no one wants to go to TikTok. I've had 2 people not work for us anymore. And one of them was like, I want out of TikTok. And I'm like, you were hired for TikTok. Sorry. Like, you have to go into the trenches. You just have to do it. And then one gal, Natalie, she helps me with this account because it's gotten so big. And she's like, everyone is so nice. And I'm like,
good.
Yeah. I don't want to go to TikTok anymore.
Well, I know, in general, personally with social media, if you do a good amount of like weeding, pull some weeds, it's a pretty positive experience.
It really is. And the thing is you just have to know how to use social media to your benefit.
Yes.
You just have to be loud, and you just don't care. And like, people go into the comments.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Kim.
You're here. The thing is you gotta just go, okay, you just gotta think, the 3 people that I didn't help that were rude, who cares? Because the 4,500 people that I helped, right? Am I gonna hyper focus on their bad attitude or all of the people I'm helping? And like, I'm just gonna focus on all the people I'm helping, because you can say stuff about anybody, like anyone, you know.
True. Yeah. No, it's the peacemakers of the world.
Yep.
It's taken a long time to turn around and start going, you know what? I don't care. This is important.
It is. If you guys stay on after this, I'll answer all your questions, just so you guys know. I see them all. I just don't want to answer right now. It's fine. I'd rather chit chat. I do some lives where all I do is answer questions all day. So it's very nice that I can actually like converse with someone. Yeah. Because it's a very quiet, this is what it sounds like all day in my house. Yeah.
Well, you said you don't live around.
No, I don't live around people. Yeah. No, I mean, there's some people, but I'm in Washington and I'm not aligned with the same type of ideals as Washingtonians. And that was very much broadcasted in my neighborhood about how I was not going to follow suit in 2020. And so they decided to put a red line around our property. So everyone knew that we were not a part of the choices that were being forced upon us in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. So I unaligned with everyone here in this neighborhood. Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's my body, right? Like, the whole purpose of why we're in the society we live in here in the United States is to have our bodies, like sovereignty over our own bodies. Like, that's important. You're not going to tell me what I can and I can't put on my body or in my body. And it really became a thing here in Washington.
We've been through it.
Yeah, we have. And I don't need to have those people around. And I know they all have worms and none of them want to listen. So for me, that's the hardest part, right? Because I see them and I've told some of my neighbors, I'm like, yo, like.
You might feel happier if you got that liver a little detox.
I literally will send you a kit. Like, you live next door to the worm queen who started an apothecary that created parasite cleansing. I will give you one. Even though you were really abrupt with, I will give anyone them.
Oh man. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I look forward to chatting with you more. You're awesome.
We'll have to do this again.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Okay, she left. All right, I just got to send that to her. All right, I'll answer some of your guys' questions. I have like 5 minutes and then I have to get on with my team meeting next. I'm on my 4th cleanse since April, life-changing, helping my family now too. Yay! And 1 eyes 2-2. That's awesome. I'm sorry I joined a little late. That's okay. I'll save this. Where do I go to get the parasite cleansing and how often do you have to do it? 3 to 4 times a year or with symptoms is what we recommend. Symptoms being that if you finish the kit after 30 days and you're still not feeling very good, then you can continue to take the rest of the kit because we give you a little more than 30 days. And then you can wait 7 days and start the cleanse again if you want to. Someone asked if you can do this pregnant. You cannot take the Purify kit pregnant, breastfeeding, or under the age of 3. So hello. All right. I think, hi, Rain. I think I got most of them. I was trying to like tailor my call, the live, around the questions that were coming in. So if you guys have questions, ask me. I will answer them. So I'm not sure. Okay, so you can't do it while breastfeeding. We are at a 2 to 4 week processing. So right now we have shipped out August 12th. We're at August 12th this week. So we actually, most of our most of our shop was closed a couple weeks ago, so we're playing catch up. We were at like 7 days, but most of the shop was sick. Can I take it during school? Yes, you can. The priority is to making sure you'll do it 3 times a day, and you may feel flu-like symptoms, headache. You may feel achy. You could have a rash. So you just want to be conscientious. Definitely start the kit on your day off. I did the Purify kit and didn't feel much difference. Well, this isn't a one and done, my friend Ashley. Could larger people require more drops? No, but you just started making your body inhospitable. Depends on what you were eating, depends on how you prepped your body. That's why we recommend 3 to 4 times a year. So you definitely want to continue to do it. Just wait 7 days in between. It's not a one and done. So you want to continue to keep taking the kit here and there in order to start making your body inhospitable. Do I take all the tinctures at once? Yes. So you would do Sustain, Metal Flush, and Purify in the mornings, and you can just do Metal Flush in the afternoon and Sustain at night, or you could do Sustain in the afternoon. If you start getting really bad die-offs, you want to increase Sustain to 3 times a day. So it would be morning, afternoon, and evening, just like the other. You don't necessarily have to do it on an empty stomach. That's just what we highly recommend. It's $100. Use Purify 10 as your discount code, and you'll get 10% off. But you really just need to like listen to your body and make sure that you take breaks if you need so. And then at night, you'll do Cinnabon as long as you're pooping. Remember the 3 Ps: peeing, pooping, and perspiring. The name of the doctor that I absolutely love is not just Dr. Jess, because I love Dr. Jess. She's just the coolest lady ever. She's so smart. But also it's Dr. LJ. So if you type in Dr. LJ, it'll come up, and it's Holistic Endo Expert. That is her actual title here on Instagram, is holistic with a W, WH, like whole. But just type in Dr. LJ. Did you know of any parasites alternatives to people on butt thinners? I do not lash publicity. However, you can look at in our profile. There is a holistic. It's Hello Pharmacist, and it's up there, and you can look at the herbs against your medications, and you can see what medications you can and can't take with your herbs. It's the antiparasitics. It's wormwood and black walnut hull and Oregon grape root. They thin your blood. Do you have recommendations for water filters? I do. I like Blue Onyx. I have one on my website under Amazon storefront, but just make sure that whatever you choose has a 1 micron or smaller filters with a UV light. That's my recommendation. I really like a lot of products that are out there, but I like Blue Onyx. It is like $1,000 now. It used to only be $5, but we've sold them out so many times. The demand has caused the price to go up, but I recommend going and looking at that and then comparing. That's what we feel is one of the top standard filtration systems out there. We treat our water, even though we are on city water, which is on a community well. We actually treat our water like it's a bad well. So where it comes in from the road, we have the filter system right there, and then it disperses across all of our property. That's what we decided to do because we have an acre, and I don't want someone over on the other side with a hose, drinking out of my hose, or my nieces here or family here, and spraying worm water everywhere. I mean, we're confirmed. We have worm water. We've had it for 2 years. Are you all behind on Purify kits? No, we're 2 to 4 weeks processing. And here's why. I'll explain this because this video is being put on my account, so you guys will have a better understanding. We process our own tinctures. We make it. We're the manufacturers. We're the production team. We source and ethically source organic herbs. We soak those herbs for 5 to 6 weeks, and depending on how busy we are, which we're super busy. I had a video go viral over on TikTok. 2.2 million people viewed it, and it made us very busy. We sold thousands of kits in a day. It was kind of crazy. So we had to utilize all of our tincture or all of our soaks, and then we had to create new soaks. And unfortunately, those new soaks can take 5 to 6 weeks. So we are constantly going in and just trying to maneuver because we're a social media business, and you just never know. I get on a live, and I mean, I was at a couple hundred kits, and I could be at 1,000 again. And so our production team is constantly in the know of what we're doing, right? Because we want to make sure that we get them out as fast as possible. But with that said, they're freshly made, basically to order. We even make our own capsules. So we have kosher and vegan capsule, but we have a big machine that I purchased from China and had it sent over here, and it was a whole thing. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I had to get the DEA involved, and it was a thing. But it took 6 months to get here. So we make our own binders, we make our own tinctures. I don't really trust a whole lot of people out there, so I just make sure that we're doing everything on our own. That's why it's so expensive. We feel $100 is good, but why some people think it's expensive and also it takes a while is because we're hand making everything. Hi, Debbie. Can you talk about tapeworms? So we know that tapeworms could 3 out of 5 people statistically have tapeworms, and because of that, we put hawthorn in our Parify. So people are probably looking at that and we're like, oh, we need to, we easily could get rid of or assist with that, and so that's what we did. We put in hawthorn. So tapeworms don't like hawthorn. They don't like to be inhospitable. You can sit in a milk bath and they like milk, so they kind of come out of the bath. Do parasite eggs look like? I'm passing a lot of yellow, livery, tiny things. Those are eggs. They also could be diagnosed as liver stones, gallbladder stones, but in my experience, personally, mine were parasites. Mine were flukes, actually. Okay. Geez, a lot of people just entered in. All right. How long does the product last after you receive it? 3 years. Our tinctures are good for 3 years. If I do a cleanse, should I make the whole family? Yes, you all should do it at once, especially if you have pinworms. Pinworms are contagious like lice. And so if one of you has it, you all have it. They're in the bed. The sheets need to be washed. You need to use vinegar, and you really need to just really overall do like a really good wipe of your house. But especially if you're having intimate relations with somebody, they are sexually transmitted. So all parasites are sexually transmitted, not just pinworms. Great explanation on how you make the drops. Will this be recorded? Yes, it'll be recorded, and I'll post it to my Instagram account. But yeah, that's why. I mean, I think most people don't realize, because most products are made in a lab, and we just didn't want to do that. I pulled out the old way that our ancestors did it, and that's what we do. Sorry if this was already asked, but curious about the alcohol and the parasites. I'm not against it. So don't need to boil it like you've mentioned. We can in the FQs. Just curious why it's used. Because it's easier to leach the medicinal values out of herbs with alcohol, and you can have a more shelf stable environment for tinctures with alcohol. In addition, glycerin is not a natural product. It can be man-made and is synthetic, and this is all natural. We want it to be 100% natural, and so we use a non-GMO corn Everclear, so it's gluten-free. And this is the way that our country should be actually making most of our tinctures. The studies that I've done and the studies that I've read, and just researching how much I've researched on how to make tinctures, this is actually the most medicinal way to do it without calling it medicine. So this is the way that a lot of countries like in Korea do it. Unfortunately, it's just something that like a lost art. And so that's what we do. Now, I know that a lot of people saw some videos talking about how alcohol, it doesn't necessarily work well with parasites, but they're talking about boozing, not about 2 ounces of alcohol that you take over a 2-month period or 30-day period. You know what I'm saying? So alcohol is the easiest way to get absorbed into your bloodstream. It actually helps break down a barrier, and it also makes sure that if there is anything that potentially could be on the herbs, it actually kills it, because it's such a high proof of alcohol, nothing can survive it. We bring it down to a certain point, so it's at 20 to 30% alcohol percent in order to keep it shelf stable. So that's why we did it the way we did it, and it just makes life easier. We also use distilled water, that we're pharmacy grade distilled water. We have a pharmacy grade distilled water machine in our shop, so we use distilled water, which helps attract the molecules that are broken down when it comes in from the tinctures. there you go. That's the gist of it all. So in case you guys want to research that, that's why we do what we do. If you're someone who doesn't sweat much at all, is it okay to take the Purify? Yes, I'm not a big sweat person either. I've worked on that pathway for sure on my body a lot. I use a lot of castor oil and bentonite clay, and I sweat a lot here more than anywhere else. So you can still do it. It's just really work on that. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome for answering. You know, I don't really talk about it, so I'm kind of glad that it's at the tail end of this live, because when I post this to my account, people can actually listen and hear what our company does and how our company produces it. And I have pill exhaustion. Like, I struggle to take these pills that I have to take. It's very difficult. And I just really like the way that I love the way that tinctures hit you. So thank you. I just purchased 2 kits for me and my hubby. All right. So we have an ebook in my profile that Dr. Jess and I wrote together. We also have a Facebook group that's private. It has about 28,000 followers in there. So you can go there. I'm also on I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Threads. We really have tried to kind of span across all of the social media platforms. I never want anyone to be alone when they're doing this, because it's overwhelming. All right, I'm going to get one more minute. Can I do the cleanse while I'm on anti-anxiety meds? I can't give you that answer, but I can direct you up into my profile, and you can check your meds against our herbs. There's a link. It says hello pharmacist, and you can check against it. Oregon grapefruit and wormwood are the worst when it comes to other medications, and you for sure cannot do blood thinners and chemo meds, but all the other ones, it would be medical advice, and I'm not allowed to do that. So proud of you for making lemonade out of lemons. Oh my gosh, thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Sarah Juliet. I did that with our house too. I had like 3 grandparents die in 2 weeks, and my parents decided to disassociate themselves with me in 2016, and it was really a lot. So I just sat down and learned how to build houses, like design them. So that's what I did with this house too. I just started the second kit of Purify and only did, keep reading. What is the likelihood of having parasites if you are iron deficient? So Deborah Bishop 37, please research anemia and hookworm. Hookworms eat your iron, and they create an iron deficiency called anemia. So the reason why we're very careful about what we say is because these words are trademarked and copyrighted. So the word anemia is owned to, you know, and so the specific iron deficiency in your blood is or could be contributed from a hookworm. So please take a look, see if that's something you want to do. Parasite cleanse would be pretty good. What's the Facebook group called so we can find you? If you go up into my profile, everything's in the link in my profile, just because it's easier. So just ordered last week for the group cleanse, end of September. Yay! That's so exciting. It's so exciting. So parasites like iron, zinc, and magnesium. So if you have those deficiencies, it probably would be a really good idea for you to cleanse. Really, really good idea. All right, you guys, I have to hop on a call with my team. I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to save this to my account. You're more than welcome to watch it. Hi, Erica. We just talked about our company. Like, I just gave the whole lowdown of the company. I'm going to save this to my account, so there'll be a lot more information for you guys. And I appreciate all of you. Just, you can send any sort of pictures to team@rogershood.com. Okay. All right. You guys have a good night. I'll talk to